Well, earlier in the program, we talked with David Bollich about the drought in Russia and its impacts on the market. In this week's Bottom Line, Neil Melancon is here to tell us about how things are faring in this country. Neil, how are things looking right now as far as crops across the country?
Well, Mike, one thing I didn't get to touch on with David is the situation with the weather here in the U.S. Although the Midwest saw some dry periods this summer, we've had nothing like what's going on in the Black Sea region, and it's even been a little too wet in some areas. About 3 weeks ago, the forecasters were calling for a high-pressure ridge to settle in across the breadbasket, but it has failed to materialize, or at least failed to stop some timely rains that have fallen on corn and soybeans. As such, experts have steadily raised the yield forecasts for most grains. Corn, for example, from around 163.5 to 163.8 bushels per acre. Now, that may not sound like much, but that's about 4 million more bushels on the market. Even though the USDA revised its acreage downwards in last month's report, that number is not yet final, and a bumper crop may mean that acreage reduction would be meaningless as far as price goes. However, the thing to keep in mind is the context the bumper crop is in. The surging export markets with shortfall in production in places like Russia, China, and Australia means that even though we'll likely see a drop in prices as usual during harvest time, Mike, the fundamentals are there for better prices to come.
And certainly, Neil, as always, a lot of factors in play. Thanks. And remember, you can listen to any of Neil's reports on the Louisiana Farm Bureau radio network by clicking on over to our website, twilatv.org. There you'll also find a list of stations where you can tune in. Just look for the link called LFB Radio Network on the right side of the home page. That does it for this edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. Join us again next week when A.J. Sabine shows us how agriculture is moving back into the cities. Until then, you can watch any of our stories online 24 hours a day. Just click on over to our website, twilatv.org. For all of us here at This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Michael Dana. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Hope to see you again right here next week.